All right, Balance Nation, let's do this. We're going to talk about some stuff today. Trying to open my glass bottle. Jesus. Whew. Use my grip strength. Actually, I'm not, but did you know that grip strength is an indice of overall health? It really is. Grip strength. All right, guys, I'm going to break some stuff down for you today. Break it down, break it down, break it down. A little bit of break dancing. Break it down. Yeah, I used to break dance back in the day, boy. I'd be like, All right. I got my wired live feed going on here. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do is talk to you about perspective. And one of the things that is dynamically different with me and everybody else out there, and I'm going to keep driving it home because I'm going to keep saying it and saying it and saying it. I do not have a niche, and I hate the niche pick, okay? Clinicians are being taught to market themselves by picking a niche and being organ specific, like liver health or gut or brain or skin. And that is the reason why you guys are getting bad information out there, okay? Because what's happening is these people are making everything about their niche on purpose. That's the whole thing about that, okay? So when you pick a niche, you make everything about it. Like, for instance, let's just talk about one of the posts that was just here I was answering this morning, okay, about Doris Lowe. Here's the deal. Her niche is vitamin C. That's what she does. She makes everything about vitamin C. That would be like something that I absolutely love. Let me pick one. Oh, man, there's so many. I'm going to make up some crap today. So, like, for instance, well, I talked about it before. Like, say, coffee. I think coffee has a lot of stuff to it, right? I love coffee. It tastes amazing. The burnt Arabica bean infusions. But coffee's not my niche. I don't have a damn niche. Coffee can be horrible for people. It can. It can absolutely be beautiful for people because we're talking about coffee. What coffee are we talking about? We're talking about Folgers, Maxwell House. We're talking about Cafe Du Monde. You know, a little bit of chicory root. I mean, what kind of coffee are we talking about? Now there's a coffee out there that's not even coffee. It's just fake coffee, and it was on Kickstarter and everything. It's just a whole bunch of food science making a delicious little beverage, right? So the upshot here is that you got to realize that that's where the center of the noise and the confusion of the info space comes from. People making everything about their niche, okay? It's just like, you know, people ask me all the time about Jack Kruse, right? Because in these space, he's got a lot of what we call penetration, right? So the thing about it is everything for him is it's just water, light, and magnetism. Well, what about electricity? Right? No, it's not that, right? And it's like saying, you know, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Well, which ones? Right? There's always context cubed. And so what happens is everybody becomes that one thing. The difficult thing for Balance Protocol is to not promote simple, easy, the 3 foods you should avoid for this. You know, the 6 things you have to avoid for this. This is what they all do. This is what Dr. Jockers does. This is what Dr. Axe does. This is what they all are taught to do, is to pick these things and make them cool, because when you put a number in front of it, it helps. Now, there are certain things, like I'm going to say, well, there's 4 factors, right? Environment, lifestyle, mindset, nutrition. But I would be advised to actually pick, well, mindset. And I'm going to become like, you know, David Bayer, you know, and the wannabe Tony Robbins. And I'm going to wear all black and the little Bobby Brown microphone and be Janet Jackson and start talking about mindset. Or I could talk about nutrition and all the science behind it. I'm going to look at all the studies and the science and the literature says, and so this and therefore you guys should eat this way and so forth because of the nutritional science. Jesus, a mindset person needs to teach you skills to include or exclude how to leverage different techniques. Nutritional science needs to teach you how to differentiate you to be able to make it if those studies that they're quoting apply to you or not. Okay? There's dynamic differences between the Inuits, and the first people, and, the Okinawans and the Loma Lindaans than my ass who lives in Central Florida from North Carolina. Okay? We are not the same people. Okay? Now, here's what I have been doing, guys. To drive this point home, I'm actually going to teach you guys exactly how I teach my clinicians. Case study. I'm going to show you, like for instance, the father of fraud, Dave Asprey, was on Instagram not too long ago because he did his post where he was on the Dr. Oz show. If you want to get full of shit, just go to Dr. Oz. And I defended Dr. Oz back in the day because people were coming at him and blaming him for stuff, but it wasn't. But it's still, that's it. Anyways, if you look at the people that are on Dr. Oz, like Dr. Axe and Amy Myers and Dave Asprey, and you know who all I consider the frauds are. You go on the Dr. Axe show. I feel like I make it when I make it to Quack Watch. When I get to Quack Watch, then I know I have ascended. All right. So anyways, what I'm saying is Dave, the father of fraud, Dave Asprey, was on there doing a little segment on fish and mercury. And he was telling people to stay away from fish because of the mercury content. And instead eat anchovies, sardines, and salmon because they're lower on the thing. Now that's the narrative, right? Well, I was preparing a case study for you guys because I'm going to go over the lipids because people have been asking me a lot about the PUFAs, right? Well, I'm going to show you guys why the PUFA niche, okay, is lacking context and giving you false information. At the same time, I'm going to show you how Dave, the father of fraud, Asprey, okay, is also giving you misinformation because he's not a clinician. He doesn't see patients. He makes up shit. People have paid him money to consult with him to talk out of his a-hole, okay? So the bottom line is this. I'm going to show you the labs. I'm going to take you through the course of what I see, Q square, M square, with one particular patient, and I'll give you that story, and I'm going to show you how this individual went to eating keto / autoimmune paleo / tons of salmon and sardines. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to answer the mercury question. Does it increase mercury in the blood? Okay? I'm not going to tell you if it does or not. I'm going to answer that question. Of course it does. Even anchovies will drive that shit right up. But that doesn't now therefore mean you need to now go, oh, all that mercury in there is therefore now creating all the havoc thereunto appertaining to mercury. No, it's not. That's the thing. Guys, there's a huge difference between can and does versus may and will. All these different terms. So can something do something? Sure. Can PUFAs create problems in the body? Sure. That doesn't mean that they do, right? They may create problems, but it doesn't mean that it will create problems, okay? Okay, so the upshot is this. I eat the hell out of PUFAs. I just fried some amazing chicken in peanut oil. Was it organic? No. Okay, but I monitor and I know that what I do is giving me the lovely and deliciousness that which I have. Okay, so the point is this. Sure, if all you ate was PUFA, you're going to create a problem. All the things they talk about that, the inflammatory cascade, and the elevated arachidonic acid, which is then transposed into cyclooxygenases, leukotrienes, and prostaglandins, and then ALEs, degenerative joints, and lipofuscin, all that kind of stuff. Well, of course. But if you're eating PUFAs in balance relative to all the other species of fat that Balance Protocol does not demonize, and adequate whole foods, grains, and legumes loaded with gluten and lectins, but it also comes with, guess what? The tocopherols, the tocotrienols, which balance out the effect of it. This is why I'll always say nature is the litmus test for truth. Okay, so when somebody demonizes something like flour because it has gluten, that's like what I say, that's like demonizing men because we have a penis. Because 90% of rapes happen from men who have a penis. Don't blame it on the penis. Okay? I use these crude examples because I got to drive it home because we got to start talking real candid about this kind of crap. Okay? So last time I checked, okay, it's just like the joke of, you go talk to a lady and you're looking at her bountiful breasts and she goes, I'm up here. Exactly. There's more to her than the cleavage. There's more to grain than gluten. There's more to legumes than lectins. There's more to spinach than oxalates. There's more to tomatoes than lectins and the fact that it has psilocin or nightshade category to it. Okay? Like, for instance, goji berries, gochu-zi in Chinese medicine, right? We use it for moving qi, to removing the stagnation in the blood. It is a qi mover. But guess what? Goji is a nightshade. So does that therefore mean because it's a nightshade that people with arthritis shouldn't consume it to move the qi? Fractal micronutrients, guys. That's what I'm trying to get at. So it's all about the context of you, the starting point. People just say this substance X, Y, or Z does this. Where are they getting that opinion from? Well, what they saw happen in either rats, monkeys, petri dishes, or in a select population that they homogenized. Well, that ain't me. Okay? Are grains with halogens a false narrative? Yes. Grains are fabulous. Through the sands of time, grains have been a part of human consumption. Well, what about paleo? What about when we were living in caves? There's no evidence of that crap. None. So people can't even tell me what their great-great-great-grandmother's name was, much less tell me how thousands of years ago people ate. And even if they did, it ain't the same food that we have today. So it's ridiculous, these dietary recommendations based upon ancestors. It's sexy, isn't it? Remember it was paleo and it was really cool, right? And then now it's ancestral because they had to rebrand it. Guys, these are marketing forces that are coming up with these terms, okay? Was in a thread just answering a couple questions a little while ago, and it was about, and I hate this term, guys, non-native EMF. Stop saying it. That's a Jack Kruse thing. We don't need to differentiate, okay? It's stupid. It's like saying wet water. Well, when we're drinking healthy, structured, wet water, guys, oh man, it's kind of crazy. All right. And I'm not going to respond to all the comments and questions, but keep them coming. I'll look at them afterwards, and then I'll answer them, at the end. Okay, so my point is that when I say context cubed, it's super important, guys. And I know people don't like that. And the more you say it, the more they're going to be pissed because they don't get the answer. It's like a crying baby who wants candy. They're in the now business. They want it now. Okay? So what I want you to realize, okay, is that it comes down to multiple things. It's like this. You don't go picking a mate because they have a high sex drive. Well, what if they're messy as hell, can't cook, nag, and all that kind of stuff? See, all the other context? And here's the thing. You don't want somebody who's a great cook and absolutely clean but then has no libido. Right? That's right. Make medicine great again. That is really good. Nora, I'm going to give you credit for it when I trademark it. Oh my God. Speaking of, so then just sidebar, guys, because I mean, it is exhausting sometimes for me. So like another fraud, in my opinion, out there is Wendy Myers, the Myers Detox. This is another non-clinician niche picker, got in early, started all the sales funnels and wonderful stuff like that. And, her whole thing, so she had this guy on, and people were asking about this product called Wata, W-A-T-T-A, Wata. He's down in Sarasota. Not only is it, I'm not buying it. No, it doesn't work. I've exported it, tested it, and whatever because that's my space, not just because I'm, truth be told, I have a competing product called Oral IV, which I use light, magnetism, and electricity and vortexing to create a special electrolyte. But anyways, aside from that. But the whole thing is that so she also promotes like these little cards and things that you hold and you reset your energy and stuff. And anyways, so I had a guy on there who said that don't store your water in glass because glass steals the electrons from the water. Jesus. Because then he used the example of, well, if we take some wool and we rub it on a glass rod and we would zap people because it was stealing electrons from the wool. No, it didn't. Wool didn't give any electrons. It just provided the friction to pull electrons from the environment and store them on the glass, not steal them from the wool. I mean, these people are just out of their minds. Anyways, all right, so back to what I was saying, the context deal. One of the things they were talking about is like Doris, her niche is, now keep in mind, I'm not ad hominem her, I'm talking about her statements, okay? But I just like to let people know she claims she's a researcher and a writer. Okay, great. All you guys are researchers too, and I'm a terrible writer. So I don't have writer envy. It's just that I'm better on camera and on stage than I am typing. So anyways. So the question was about vitamin C, and the question is, what is better or what's best? See, those terms will always get you in trouble when you do that. Though I understand why people ask them, they're the reasons why people miss the boat, okay? Because what's best for one person is not best for another, okay? So the thing about this is like, for instance, vitamin C. First of all, we have to come to an agreement on terms, okay? So it's like somebody says, Dr. Beck, he believes in God. And I go, yes, I do. And they'll say, see, now Shiva, who has all these arms as God, and Beck believes in that. No, whoa. No, I don't. I believe in sky people. So anyways, the point is this. We better understand the terms of what we're saying before we go agree or disagree. So let's talk about vitamin C, okay? Vitamin C. All right. This particular individual is talking about ascorbic acid, okay? Ascorbic acid has been absolutely, unequivocally flooded the PubMed crawl and literature with clinical effectiveness, okay? Absolutely. Vitamin C, as defined as ascorbic acid, has profound clinical benefit. I don't give a blip if it's synthetic. Of course it's synthetic. It's okay. That doesn't mean, so you guys throw away the synthetic moniker as being bad either, okay? Jeremy Fisher, isn't some made with, yes, it is, okay? Asparagus niger, so what? It's made with mold. But that's not the same mold that we give the bad context to. You understand what I'm saying? You can't go and take the mold that's behind the toilet, that's water sprayed into your vanity, and there's a slow leak, and then the mold in the air started making that mold, and we don't take that mold. See, that's the thing when I was talking about coffee. Mold, isn't it making? Yeah, we use mold all the time. Your body is loaded with mold. As fungus, you got loads of fungus. It's symbiotic. So these are the things, these niche pickers and people who want to compete in the niche, they want to say stuff like that, okay? We use all kinds of microbial engineering to make things, all of it. I mean, that's the whole deal. So ascorbic acid, okay, can be made from various substances like corn. So then people go, well, is it non-GMO corn? I don't give a shit if it's not GMO corn, because by the time you put, okay, this mold on there to derive the ascorbic acid from it, the proteins that are the issue are not there. So who cares if it started with GMO corn or not? I don't care. There's no signature of the GMO coming in there. Okay, does that make sense? So ascorbic acid has tremendous potential benefit. I have put in hundreds of thousands of grams into people's IV. But would I do it? No. I don't need it. Should everybody do it prophylactically? No, you don't need it. Okay, let me tell you something about ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid, okay, will move the body pH, okay, I'm talking about total body, average tissue pH, to be, because there's various pHs. I talked about it in another video, okay, we're talking about the upper bowel pH, the stomach pH, the sigmoid pH, the colon pH, the adrenal pH, the lung pH, your stomach pH, your skin pH, your mouth pH, your eyeball pH, your ear canal pH. There's all kinds of pHs, and we shouldn't all be alkaline, and we shouldn't be all acid either. There's various contexts of each biological terrain compartmentalization. So the thing is, though, is overall, if you're dosing certain doses, either all at once or over time, okay, of ascorbic acid, you will have a higher probability, okay? You may shift your pH to a detrimental place. But I heard it was good for this and the immune system, whatever. Well, in the context of what? How are you qualifying yourself for said mechanism or not, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So you got to realize that ascorbic acid is not the same thing, okay, as ascorbate complexes of minerals such as zinc ascorbate, sodium ascorbate, magnesium ascorbate, calcium ascorbate. L-ascorbic acid is not the same. Okay, it's just like not every magnesium is the same. Magnesium glycinate, magnesium oxide, magnesium carbonate, magnesium orotate, magnesium threonate. I mean, the last name makes the difference. The compound of the molecule. Does that make sense? Okay, so you got to always think about it. You can't say, well, magnesium does this, or zinc does this, or copper does this, or vitamin C does this, or vitamin D does this. It's not that easy. Guys, of course they want to make it that easy if they want to sell it to you in a bottle. Okay, I sell things in a bottle. Okay, truth be told, that's the thing. I do. I manufacture my own line of supplementation. Okay. Does celery juice have a clinical benefit for some? Yes, of course it can. But it can, if anything has clinical benefit, it has also the ability to have clinical detriment if consumed out of context of you. That's the perspective you guys got to understand. If there is no greater understanding at all that you'll ever get from me is the fact that you are a category of one and you need to know how you are, okay? Listen, there's a ton of doctors out there that have way more education than I do, but they don't know their A from a hole in the ground. They don't. They kill 350,000 people a year. Yikes. Top in their class, board certified, amazingly high, whatever, publish all the research, whatever. But that don't mean you still don't mistakes and you kill people. Okay, so you can't go on that. But what I'm saying is this. Then there's also a need for an exit strategy. Whenever you start on something, you need to know when you stop it. That's the problem with supplements or dietary things, right? Is people don't know when to stop. They don't know when to stop. Right? Sure, if you want to upregulate TH, helper cell 1 or something like that, and you want to induce it with a certain botanical, then okay, great. But that doesn't mean always take it so your immune system is healthy and balanced or supported. It's not true. Just like I said this earlier, like with mushrooms. We were talking about, lion's mane and chaga and all the wonderful things that it espouses. True. So the search is there. But it can also offset people. That's the reason why for every testimonial that someone says ascorbic acid changed my life, you'll find one that'll say, hey, it wrecked my life. That's the way it is with everything. Okay? One of my earliest perspectives of coming to this was the fact, and I've told this story about being a good old boy growing up in North Carolina, single wide trailer, right? We garden. Another story that goes back to my mama, okay? Well, my mom, she loved roses and she loved azaleas and gardenias. But anyways, in North Carolina, we're loaded with pine trees. Pine trees everywhere. So what do? Well, we ain't going to go buy no mulch like we have to do here in Florida, right? So what we do is we go and we rake up all those pine needles and we cover the beds with mulch of pine needles. Well, then it rains, and guess what? That changes the pH of the soil to acidic. Now, that's fantastic for azaleas. It's fantastic for hydrangeas, big blue clustered flowers, right? But the problem is it's terrible for perennials, for something we also like down south called honeysuckle. So we grow some honeysuckle. Honeysuckle and cherry trees and perennials, they like an alkaline soil. Right? So you have to look at it in the context of what you're trying to achieve. All right, so when you go and you take in, like, say, and the question was, Chris asked this question, was about lemon juice, okay? Well, lemon juice, though it is acidic, okay, is a pure anion, and it will shift your pH to more alkaline. Vitamin C, as L-ascorbic acid will shift you more acidic. They are not the same. Why? Because a lemon and its juice, you know, has a different tyrosinase enzymes and copper and all kinds of little molecular factors that come into play with it. Okay, so this is why you can't get involved in that in the ash content of things either when it comes to pH. So one of the things that we do in our beds, if we're wanting to grow something, is we don't do an expensive soil sample off to the University of such and such and have them test our soil. We do it real simple. This is what we do. We take a couple of Dixie cups and we scoop up the soil. We put, you know, a scoop in either one, right? And then we fill it full of water, right? And then we put in a little bit of White House distilled vinegar in one and a little baking soda in the other and swizzle it up, right? It's called scientific method. And whichever, if one of them makes the other one fizz, we know that the pH of the soil. Ain't that amazing? A little Farmer's Almanac for you. Boy, that's a magazine that's full of crap too anyways. All that astrological zodiac sign stuff. Anyways, so if we have a soil that we put in baking soda and it fizzes, we'll actually see it make this little foam on the surface of that water. We know that we have an acidic soil. We know we're good to go to plant azaleas and hydrangeas. Now, guess what, though? Now, that soil takes another micronage of a fertilizer, an NPK, right? Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. And so what happens is that we put that into that acid soil. We have to adjust the NPK ratios because of their subcategorical fractal micronage chemistry in said acid environment. You take that same fertilizer and you put that into an alkaline soil, you're going to get a different result. You can either cause the plant in question to thrive or to die. Guys, we are the same way. Everything is energy, frequency, vibration. And the only way you're going to know it is you have to evaluate. You got to know your starting point. I hope this makes sense. All right. Then Jeremy asked about LabDoor evaluating supplements. Let me tell you about LabDoor, okay? They're full of okay? LabDoor uses a company up in Michigan to do their testing called Avamine, which I have spent probably about $40,000 back in the day to do some testing. And I toured their facilities up there in Michigan, and it was terrible. Man, they freaking wasted my time, took me for tens of thousands of dollars. So, though they may be reputable now and things have gotten better, but from firsthand experience, walking the halls and working with the scientists of the literal company who does the testing for LabDoor, I would not align with them for that reason. Number two, they're looking from a different perspective. There's no context. Right? They're evaluating things in different things, right? So even if you evaluated probiotics, you can say, well, okay, well, this one says that it has 50 billion units, well, at time of manufacture. If it sits on the shelf for a while, it drops down. So what happens when we make probiotics? Well, in order to keep that 50 billion claim, we have to start with 100 billion to account for the drop-off. So then now what does that mean? You go and you take that same probiotic fresh off the batch, and you can overshoot a person because you're not giving them 50 billion, you're giving them 100 billion. Does that make sense? So it's tough. It's really a challenge. So you don't know when and how old the things are. I know this because I manufacture supplements and I grow my own probiotics, which is why I'm out currently, by the way. So don't ask me, which one's the best one? Depends upon the patient, okay? Lactobacillus strains are going to be different than the Bifido strains, right? They're going to act in the upper GI different. They're going to act in the lower GI. Depends upon the case of the patient. You see how convoluted this is, guys? This is why people can't just crank out content from content writers that they hire on LinkedIn or try to steal from other bloggers, because they're just talking out of their butts because they have no context or starting point knowledge of you. There's no Q square M square, right? So I can't say. People are, well, what's the best probiotic? Mine, because I want to sell it to you. No. I'm going to say, you see how bad I am for business? So the bottom line is, it's just a matter of, I need to know the context of the patient, right? Is the bowel, what's the bowel motility like, right? What's the pH of the bowel? Do you have a diarrhea problem, or do you have a severe constipation problem? You don't just need probiotics for gut health. How stupid is that? That's like saying you just need this soap to clean this surface. We don't do that on cars, right? Why do we have baby soap? I mean, that we just give everybody, Johnson & Johnson's baby soap. Well, because it sometimes doesn't clean our dirty butts and hair good enough, so we need something for adults. But you put that on babies, you're going to burn their eyes, you're going to have another problem. So you see all these analogies, guys? This is the thing that I'm just trying to drive home. It's a tough and arduous journey to tell you what is best or what is better. It's totally different. It's the same thing like what people ask me all the time about protein. Right? There's this conversation about animal proteins versus plant proteins. And this is a perfect example of what I'm rambling about today. Animal proteins, plant protein, which one's better? Well, for who? To do what? At what time of the year? In what geographic location? In the context of what's the amino acid status and profile of you as a category of one? No one can say. They get stuck on things like amino acid content, digestibility, absorbability. That's crazy, all right? Well, then here's the thing. Well, if that's the case, then only seek to marry porn stars because they're the ones with the best skills in the bed. They got more experience than anybody. So only shop for those as your mate because of that one thing that's important in a relationship is a person's sexual prowess. Do we make decisions on relationships based upon sexual prowess alone? No. Then why the hell are you making it based upon protein alone or fat alone or vitamin C content alone or probiotic alone? There's just way more to it, guys. There's way more to it. I wish I didn't have to sound like a politician and give a roundabout answer. What is this better, yes or no? Crap, I can't say. I need to know more about you. So that's the whole deal, right? You don't go and think that vitamin C attaches to everything and justifies everything, okay? Like, don't ever take any oral supplementation of vitamin D. Okay, always get it from light. That's relatively true. I recommend you get in the sun. If you ain't in the sun, make a lamp. It clinically works. But there are times, contextually, that people should use some freaking vitamin D. But then vitamin D from what? Fish that swim under the sea that never get any photonic energy in it either? Or maybe some lamb lanolin, right? So it's just, it's so many different things. And then it's dose. So one of the things that you always hear me talk about is source. Remember these guys. Source, form, dose, frequency, duration. Okay, here's an example. Well, I heard that magnesium was for migraines. Well, magnesium mother flippin' what? What's the last name of it? Where did it come from? What's the source? Well, what dose? 500 milligrams or 5 grams? Because, in America, more is better. Especially from Texas, you take a big old dose. I'm just kidding. Source, form. Where did it come from? Form. What was the last name of the magnesium? Magnesium glycinate or magnesium orotate? Okay, dose. 500 milligrams or 5 grams? Frequency. 1 time a day or 5 times a day? Okay, duration. For 5 weeks or 5 months? All right, so you got 5 different things. Source, form, dose, frequency, and duration of any substance makes the benefit or the detriment. You can absolutely overshoot it on magnesium. You can overshoot it on copper, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, tryptophan, branched chain aminos, bone broth. I mean, everything. Turmeric. But do all those things actually have effect of benefit? Well, of course. But only through the context of you. All right? All right. So that was that. So I'm gonna whip through some of these questions here from top to bottom, and I'll just rapid fire. Okay? So bear with me, guys. If it goes off on too much of a thing, that's it. Common sense approach, Dr. Beck. Thank you, Callie. That's great. That's what everyone forgets. Yeah, guys, listen. I mean, boy. But listen, if I train you and you're just a lay person, like, for instance, a little shout out to Jeremy and Mary down in Louisiana. Try not to hate you guys because Alabama got beat by LSU. You sons of. Anyways, they've come and they've trained with me extensively. They know a lot. They have, a lot of knowledge, though they're not clinicians. I'm making them clinicians. So I'm not saying people have to be a clinician in order to be a source of information. The truth is the truth no matter where it comes from. I've said that a million times. But the litmus is, do they make the information they give you litmus test against Q square M square of U. That's the difference, right? That is what the difference is. If they're you have to identify if they're a niche picker, they're going to tell you everything is about their niche. Like they're a Lyme specialist. No matter what the tests say, they're going to tell you have Lyme. And those are the ones you got to stay away from. Okay. And let's see. All grains, false narrative. Yeah, stop demonizing grains. They're amazing. What are your favorite grains? I like all grains that are organically derived, non-GMO, and not coated with glyphosate. Depends. What's my favorite? Well, it depends. Am I making pizza? Am I making a biscuit? Am I making some focaccia? All that kind of fun stuff. Do I want to, make it into some bars or anything like that? All depends. I've always said in there, we live in caves, so we must eat meat. Oh my God, yes, that's true. What's your opinion on infused coffee? Four sigmatic mushrooms, infused coffee. I mean, it's a delicious beverage and it can be useful, but don't overdo it because you can overly push different pathways. It can wreck you. What that dose is, I think you could have a four sigmatic, cup of coffee, a couple of times a week or fine, depending upon what your T helper cell status or dominance may or may not be. There's way too many caveats to say. If it makes you feel like crap, stop doing it, even though everybody tells you it's good for you. Don't push. When your lover says, ow, that hurts, don't keep going and saying, no, you like it. Maybe you should make a new program. Yeah, okay, we don't talk about that. That's really great. Oh, you got live broadcast. Yep, HEB. Got to bug out. Okay, boom. Yeah, everyone wants everything fixed now. And they don't want to go and, that's a good one, Dev. Everybody wants to fix it now. They don't want to take time. I did an onboarding with a new patient this morning, and that's what I was talking about. I said, hey, listen, here's the deal. It takes time. If you think you're going to fix this stuff right away with just a couple pills, potions, and powders, you're out of your mind. It's crazy. Jeremy, you're welcome. Jason, love you too. Okay, about a kilogram. Just bought a kilogram of ascorbic acid. Well, see, AA, right? We're talking about arachidonic acid. We're talking about amino acid. We're talking about ascorbic acid. That's how doctors can make mistakes, right? So I need to clarify. AA, what is that? So yeah, ascorbic acid, don't be taking unless you know. All right, here's the deal, guys. All right, I'm going to teach you how to do it. Ready? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little preview, but perv sounds like you're perving, kind of looking into it. About arachidonic, excuse me, you almost got me. Ascorbic acid, okay? You have to check and do a series of pH tests of your urine. Your pH changes through the day for various reasons. It's what I refer to as the wobble. There's 4 specific times in order to get an idea of what your particular pH tide is of the day in response to all the other fractal micronutrients, such as environment, lifestyle, mindset, and nutritional factors that you've been consuming. So we take pH values of the urine and saliva, but particularly the urine at 8, 1, 5, and 9. 8, 1, 5, and 9. And the reason why we do those is because we want 2 values taken in the catabolic phase of the day and 2 of the anabolic phase in the day. If your average pH through the day is less than 6.2, don't be taking L-ascorbate. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't take L-ascorbic acid if your trending pH is less than 6.2. Why? Because your body will push more electricity, less magnetism, and your organs and tissues will have high potential of coming out of balance. Okay? So, it's contextual. What should you do instead of taking ascorbic acid if your pH is less than 6.2? Lemon. Okay? So, but here's the thing. If your trending pH of the same 8, 1, 5, and 9, okay, is greater than 6.8, don't be drinking lemon water. Because why? Because it's going to drive you even more alkaline, which is for the same reasons. So you see how this works, guys? I just gave you guys a little taste of what my preceptees know and learn. This is why Balanced Protocol in clinical is way more powerful than anything else, context. So yeah, celery juice has some good stuff. And see, I just gave you guys inclusionary and exclusionary criteria to my bullshit. See how that works? So with I like to call mine my propaganda and my rhetoric. I like to use those words, right? So my propaganda and my rhetoric. I just gave you inclusionary, exclusionary criteria. A test that you can do at home. It doesn't cost you nothing. Now, don't go thinking you can know everything that you need to know about you and your health from just your urine pH. Don't conflate it past that. I'm just telling you that's what it is. So we do it in the soil to determine what plants we grow. We do it in our bodies to determine what things that we should increase or decrease. Okay. Did I hear porn stars are required to be part of Balanced Protocol? Oh, absolutely. I am unabashedly able to report that I am the doctor to many of both male and females in the sex worker industry. Anyways, by the way, Beck sent you an email about question scheduling. Can you check it? Yeah, I'll take a look at that, Nora. What about melatonin supplements? Jack says it's bad for everyone. Another, of course, there's not too many things that I'm going to say are bad for everyone. Okay, remember, bad. What does that mean? Man, you're bad. See how we say it there? Or you're bad. It's context, right? It's like F you. If I go F you versus F you. So, no, melatonin supplements have their place also. Bam, 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 bam. What are your thoughts on caffeine? My migraines get help with a lot of green tea. Okay, well, see, that's a good example, Carlos. Caffeine and green tea are two different things. Does green tea contain caffeine? Well, yes. But don't attribute all the things beneficial or detrimental thereunto appertaining the fact that it's Camellia sinensis to caffeine. That's just one molecule, right? So you see, that's the perfect example. See, we take one substance that's in something and attribute everything to it. That's what Gundry does when it comes to lectins. So he thinks that tomato seeds need to be removed from tomatoes before you make the sauce. It's just stupid. It's just the ridiculous thing ever, man. Okay. Any recommendations for us living up in the frozen tundra? Same thing, man. Live life in balance. Quantify. It's just, but recommendation, there's all kinds of, there's the same things. So no, I don't have any things of that nature. I like to visit, but for me, I thrive down here in the hot, sweaty humidity. Other people, they hate it down here for that. See, we're different. Vertical hyperphoria, yes. So you have heard that the BPI melanin tint may be good after sunset. Yes, the BPI melanin tint is good after sunset. Matter of fact, that's what I use. I actually use BPI melanin. I dip my own lenses. And I teach everybody how to do that also in Balanced Protocol Enviro 2.0, how to tint your own lenses. The thing is after sunset, in certain circumstances, I don't go straight to the BPI 550 because I have way too much of a melatonin surge, and I'll go to sleep way before I do. So if I go to sleep before 10 o'clock, I'm waking up at 4 o'clock, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so I purposely stay up, but I lessen it by using the BPI melanin tint instead of the BPI 550. What's the least you should be blocking? Up to 455. That's about right, dude. That's a good number. Okay, I understand context goes into okay. Bone broth. Talk about overshoot. Oh yeah, man, dudes. Matter of fact, I've seen so many people doing this bone broth stuff, just having cytokine storms. It's unbelievable. Even if you make it yourself, which is fantastic, right? It's delicious. Potentially. But if you're bone broth, and every day and everybody, look how cool I am, and everybody on Instagram, I know bone broth and everything like that. Guess what? You're consuming concentrated immunological factors that will off-kilter your immune system. Imagine that. Another balance. Have a cousin serve in the military in Vietnam. Agent Orange breathing tube. Trey was suggested him. Yeah. Okay, great. Actually, celery juice in the morning for 4 months. Yeah, so yeah, there you go. Celery juice in the morning, it's great. A nice source of potassium, chlorophyll, electrolytes. It's really good, okay? But that doesn't mean go listen to all the things that fraud medical medium tells you. That makes sense? I mean, that guy is an absolute fraud. Holy crap. And Hollywood loves him because they're so full of crap, it's unbelievable. They got all the money in the world to throw around and stuff. They don't give a damn. Oh, Amy, haven't seen you in forever. What kind of good quality dairy products do you eat? I eat all kinds of dairy products. I thrive on dairy. And it's not just because my blood type is B positive. Imagine that, Dr. Beck's blood, B positive. The thing about it is it just depends. I love soft cheeses, hard cheeses, but it also depends, right? Because they have two different effects. The calciums that are in a soft cheese are not the same as the calciums that are in a hard cheese. The calcium lactates that are in the harder cheeses that have that tang and tart and that kind of fun stuff, like a pecorino or a Parmigiano Reggiano. are going to be more moving you to a cationic side or an acidic P side. If you're more on a soft cheese, like a yogurt-derived, not a yogurt-derived cheese, but a soft cheese like a cream cheese or something of that nature that has more calcium as gluconate, that's going to actually move you more on the alkaline side. So it just depends. It just depends. It's about cancel cable and sticking to program by far screen. Yeah, this is a long one today, man. I just went off. What's your favorite blue blocking glasses? The ones that I make. Jeremy, those are my favorites. I dip my own. Listen, all these companies are good. You know, Raw Optics is out there, Swanick. They're all fine. It's just whichever frames you like. Okay. If I do my own. That's the best. That's the answer. But I mean, hey, Liz, there's all different ones who have different things. It's not like their tint is any magically delicious than anybody else's. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Metabolic typing online quiz for $50. No, you'll get lost on that, Rob, if you go metabolictypingonline.com. Because it doesn't understand the other micronutrients, right? So metabolic typing has a lot of validity to it. Fast oxidation, slow oxidation, mixed oxidation, okay? But you can't just go give dietary based upon that because you don't have the starting point of other things. What is the state of the autonomic nervous system? What is your membrane composition? What is your body pHs? What is your environment? Different things of that nature, right? So in other words, it's really close. You know, that work and Walcott's stuff is really good. I wouldn't rule it out completely, but you got to be careful with that, guys. Don't listen to oxidative types from frauds like Wendy Myers, though. That chick doesn't know. She is just horrible. Not a person, but her words, right? What she did, and that's my opinion, okay? Red dairy, you read Dairy Feeds Virus. Velda, love you, but see, this is a good example, guys. Dairy feeds viruses. What dairy? Sheep, goat, human, bovine, porcine, what? Dairy viruses. That's not true. If you're fighting a virus, you shouldn't eat dairy. See how and what virus? What virus are we talking about? So you see how you can't do it? Of course that's not true. These things just flip my stuff. Okay, explain the French paradox. No, I'm not going to get into that. Some other companies charge stupid prices for blue blockers. I love yeah, Spectra's great. It's fashion, really. Yeah, some of them do it because, you know, it just depends upon the quality also. Spectras are great. I actually feature those in a video in the light module in Balance Protocol 2.0. And the thing about it is this, but they're not the highest quality. They're really nice, but they're not going to take a beating, you know. So some of the frames from like these other companies, they're stronger, and it just depends upon the context of how you use them and where you use them. If you drop them a lot or not, you know. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom in the program, Rob. Rob already has the program. He knows that part. Yeah. All right, guys. All right, so that's long. Woo, man, almost 50 minutes. Go back and read this one. This one is podcast worthy. And I covered a bunch of stuff. Hope all that makes sense. And again, guys, all the answers can be had if you know how to approach them from a different perspective. And the first perspective is you knowing that you are a unique individual, a category of one that has all the different aspects in symphony. I like this time of year. You guys know I talk about my mom on time. So she got my own Mannheim steamroller, right? That kind of stuff's amazing, right? So in other words, you got percussion. Oh man, it's awesome, the drums and the rhythm. And you got the woodwinds, and then you got the brass. But imagine if you had them all in symphony and tuned in playing the same music and you really get your jam on. That's how all these other systems are the body. Just know that you're getting your information from people who picked a niche of one thing away from everything else in you, and it changes everything to understand that everything is interwoven, right? Your mind has a powerful component in play. So how, on what your body does. Your environment, your lifestyle, not just what you eat. You got to combine all four of those factors to get your understanding, and then what you find, you got to proceed through the 2358 framework of the protocol, okay? So, favorite Star Wars movie? Empire Strikes Back. That's an easy one, baby. I don't like all the new ones because the social justice warrior overtones ruined it. All right, so guys, love you. I'll keep these coming. Keep your questions coming. Sometimes I might have to jump on here and break it down for a brother. And I love you guys, but keep living life in balance.